Hello and welcome everybody, and thank you for joining me again. My name is Wilky and I am here with the first proper Warframe video, because I made one in the past but that one didn't really contain any information or good content for that matter. So yeah, here we go again. For a quick heads up though, this video is more directed towards new people who either never played Warframe or only have a couple hours into the game. This is basically in an attempt to create some kind of equality between my viewer base, because I know some people played Warframe, some of you played Warframe probably more than I did, but I'm also pretty sure that not everybody who watches my videos did ever play Warframe, so I'm just basically here to kind of create an equality base for that, and also maybe to get new people to play Warframe. Now, just a quick fact check about Warframe. Warframe is a free-to-play third-person shooter slash hack and slay-esque type of game. There's a pretty unique melee system that is paired with ranged weaponry ranging from pistols, rifles, sniper rifles, crossbows, bows, grenade launchers, flamethrowers, and God knows, very, very strange weapons as well. So there's a huge amount of variety in terms of weaponry and armor you can be using. Also, the so-called Warframes are, I guess, the best example or the best way to put that are like characters slash classes you can play. All of them feature 4 different abilities as well as a passive, and there's I think over 25 of these at the moment in this game. So there's a lot of these Warframes in the game you could be exploring. So there's probably pretty much for every playstyle something out there. There's offensive types, there's defensive types, there's the utility slash stealth type I'm currently using in this footage. So there's a lot of stuff going on there, and there's a huge variety in stuff you could potentially be using. Customization is also a real thing in that game. You have color palettes, you have capes, you have sort of like scarf thingies, helmets, armor pieces. There's a whole lot of stuff you could customize, so pretty much nobody is going to look exactly the same. Unless, of course, they use the default layout. But who would use that? And I think the customization part is one of the biggest assets of this game. Usually your party range is going to be between 1 and 4 people. You can clear most of this content solo. But most of the content that's a bit higher up is probably going to be a bit tricky for new people. So you probably want to run with random groups, or even better with friends, because this game actually kind of promotes party play. There's no loot stealing, no loot hoarding. Everything that drops for everybody. So if you see something lying on the ground, everybody sees it and everybody gets their own respective loot pile. So you can't really steal anybody else's loot. So there's no loot hoarding, no shaming, no anything of that sort in the game, which helps to reduce the amount of toxicity obviously quite a bit. It has probably one of the best PvE systems I've encountered so far, and by that I mean I'm usually the PvP type of guy, but I keep coming back to this game and I still never get fully bored of it. The only reason I really take breaks from that game is because I get some kind of new PvP game that piques my interest, and then I just drop it. But the reason for that also is I know that I can drop Warframe for half a year, come back to it, and don't feel like I've never played the game. There's still a lot I have to learn. I still have to read a lot of things, and there's so many things I still don't figured out yet. But usually the stuff I already have helps me to get into the game rather quickly, so it usually is only like a matter of a couple days to get myself back onto the feet. There's also a PvP system. I'm not too fond of the PvP in this game, to be honest. I like to compare it to Diablo in that regard. It has a PvP system as well, but the majority of people play it for the PvE part, and I'm pretty sure in Warframe it is a very similar thing. However, they do develop both PvE and the PvP aspect of this game, so if you like some PvP, maybe this is also for you. But for me personally, I think this game really shines in regards of PvE. The developers do constantly develop it, so there's always new content coming, there's a lot of bug fixes, and even though there's a lot of bug fixes, the game is still quite buggy at some points. So this is rather a negative point, but it has its drawbacks really. Sometimes the game crashes, sometimes you have to restart, but it's not all that bad, especially since the game launches rather quickly. They also do live streams, they do events, they do the giveaways, so the developers are actually very active and very engaged with the community. which is a very, very rare thing these days, and I think it's a very valuable thing for the working team to work so closely together with the community. And last but not leastly, you don't need to spend a single penny on this game. I said it's free to play, and you may ask yourself, but how do they make money? Well, obviously, there are microtransactions in this game. The reason I say you don't need to spend a single penny, though, is because you can get everything you want by playing. And I mean everything, because you can simply trade items you farm or you obtain in-game for the cash currency. That means you can just keep on playing, and whenever you want or need something, you can go to the trade chat, see what people are looking for. Maybe you already have a duplicate or something of that, and if you don't, you can just check out where to farm those and just go there, farm the item, pray to RNG, start selling stuff. I just recently sold a bunch of items that probably gave me a worth of roughly 30 bucks spent on the cash currency, which is a pretty good amount, and that gets you relatively far into the game. So I firmly believe there's absolutely no need to spend money on the game. If you do want to obviously support the game, then you're very welcome to. Now, apart from the good things, there are some bad things. I already mentioned that it is kind of prone to bugs at some points, especially when there's new content. It sometimes is quite a bit iffy. Also, it has no real end game, and I know a lot of people could argue about that, but I do firmly believe there is no true end game in this game. So this is really all about the journey, all about gathering the next greater weapon, the next better frame, the next better mod, whatever else you want to use. So there's no real finishing line where you can be like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna sit there and just PvP. You could potentially do that, and maybe some people do that. I don't believe that the majority of people is like that though. The other thing is, it is a pretty grind-based game. That also comes into play that it is heavily RNG-based. So if you're not a fan of RNG or grinding, then I'd say Warframe is not for you. That's just the way it is. And it's just the nature of the game, really. That's what the whole, I guess, fun about the game comes in, because you do have to run stuff multiple times most of the time. Sometimes you're really lucky and you get everything in a few runs. Usually that's not the case. But I think other than that, the game has a very unique feel to it. You feel completely overpowered, or not completely overpowered, but you can make yourself pretty damn OP in some occasions. You're very fast. This is a very fast-paced game. You can do super flashy moves. You can jump around. You're basically, a lot of people often like to call it space ninjas, which is pretty damn accurate if you ask me. So if you like the feeling of that, then I'd say give this game a shot. It's free to play, and best way to actually play this game is grab a friend or more friends. If you ever get the rare chance to play this game actively with 4 people, you're probably gonna have a very, very, very good ride, because this is a very awesome game if you have a proper group and a proper setup for that matter. Anyways, I think that's pretty much all I can give you about. Like I said, a quick TLDR, if you like grinding, if you like a lot of PvE, cooperative PvE, a lot of items, a lot of customization, then I'd say definitely check this game out. If you don't like any of these things, if you're not prone of switching gear, farming gear, repetitive stuff, then I'd say Warframe is probably not for you. I'd still say give it a shot. It's free to play, and like I said, it's a pretty unique game, and I firmly believe we do not get anything similar to that anytime soon. So I definitely recommend everybody who even has slightly been interested in this game to check it out. Anywho, this is pretty much all I can give you for, I guess, to find the answer whether or not you want to play this game or not. I will continue to make like a beginning or beginner series guides where I explain how to start, maybe a progression route, and explain a couple things in the game, because there's a lot of stuff going on in the game which might be a bit overwhelming at the beginning, but as soon as you get yourself into that, this game is absolutely fantastic. Anyways, hopefully some of you may have learned something from this video. If there's something I forgot, something that maybe has been a bit unclear or confusing, as usual, feel free to let me know in the comments. And yeah, hopefully see you guys next time as well.